climate change affects countries across the globe. However, due to high population growth, rapid deforestation, and widespread soil erosion, Malawi's agricultural-based economy is particularly susceptible to climate change's negative consequences. Malawi is particularly prone to adverse climate hazards that include dry spells, seasonal droughts, intense rainfall, riverine floods, and flash floods. Droughts and floods, the most severe of these hazards, have increased in frequency, intensity, and magnitude over the past 20 years, with dire consequences on food and sustainable livelihoods of the most rural communities. And this is Chikwawa district, located in the valley of Lower Shire River in the southern region of Malawi. Most of rural farmers in the district live in fragile, resource-scarce and degraded environments in areas that are prone to climate-related disasters and exposed to frequent shocks. In order to address the situation, World Vision Malawi, through funding from World Food Programme, embarked on a multi-year livelihood and resilience project called Food for Assets Creation. Under the innovation of Food for Assets Creation, communities in the targeted areas have embarked on several integrated approaches such as afforestation, soil and water conservation structures, climate change, crop insurance, village savings loans, gender protection and accountability.
As we're working with the community, you see communities are people just like anyone else. So as we are working, we set targets for us to have meaningful output of what we are doing. An example would be a deep trench. It would be very difficult for us to say, please come, let's do this without setting any targets. So we do have work norms for each and every intervention. A deep trench has got its own norms, which is like 6 meters per person per day. Once one has erected that, they are assured to have finished their target for that particular day. And also be mindful of the fact that the communities do these activities for 12 days in a month, and then they receive their monthly entitlement for the first 6 months of the project. Needless to say that for this particular implementation phase, the communities had to receive 7 rounds of monthly entitlements after they have satisfied the work targets, the work norms.
This is Madzi Amzimu watershed, located in the area of Group Village Kokwa under Traditional Authority Ngabu in Chikwawa. Under the intervention of Food for Assets Creation Project, members from this community, with guidance from World Vision, area facilitators have implemented some important sustainable land and water management activities. These include soil and water conservation, afforestation, water harvesting, and flood control structures such as trenches, gully reclamation, check dams, eyebrows, and stone band.
Kalero mbuyo anthu chidwi chodzala mitengo tinalibe. Ndipo nkhani yathu idali yongudula mitengo kupanga makala chani kuti munthu adzikwanisa kumathandizikira pakhomo. Komano ndi project iyo itangobwera anthu tamba kuzindikira tsopano kunena kuti kudzala mitengo ndikufunikira chonchi.
The restoration of Madzi Amzimu watershed degraded ecosystem has helped many farmers like Ronald Alamusi, who for the past 3 years has been realizing increased levels of his cotton yield. Like others who are growing food crops, Alamusi says the approach has greatly contributed to the strength of improvement of degraded landscapes.
Katikati muvanga ma check dam kunapezeka madzi anachepa kuenda mofulumira kwambiri chifukwa cha miyala imene inapangidwa kuphiriko. Mzaka zimenezi lekidwa miyama checkdown mene kupeza kuti munda wanga uno uli bwino kwambiri chifukwa cha ntchito imene yagwirika kuphiriko.
Through Food for Assets Creation project, many rural farmers are reshaping their adaptation strategy by embracing the rearing of goats that are resilient to the changing conditions. This has also provided them an alternative as a fallback whenever crops in the fields perform poorly. Salome Fred, who resides in Chambaluka village under Group Village Headman Chakadaenda in Chikwawa, is married and has 5 children. She is one of the primary beneficiaries of Goats Pass-On program who received 6 goats. Salome says as a beneficiary of this program in her area, it has in itself boosted her self-confidence and completely positively changed her mindset.
Moyo wapakhomo pano poyambirirapo tidalibe ulo china chilichonse. Ndizitabwera mbuzizo basi pamene udindo umene ndalowa ine ku banki ndikumaona ngati kuti zinthu zijezo kumakhala bwino bambo jatikati chinthu chasokonekera timakhala basi ndikukambirana tikakambirana ndikuti timaona kuti zinthu zikukhala bwanji.
Drying is an important form of food preservation that is often carried out at farm level right after harvest, or especially with highly perishable crops at peak harvest time when local markets are saturated. One of the challenges that rural farmers face upon their harvest is post-harvest loss due to, among others, inadequate drying of their crops. To address this post-harvest loss, the FFA Project, together with members of the community from this area, built this direct solar dryer.
China tipangitsa ifeyo kuti ichi chiti chifune akuti atipangire umphawi wazoyanikira kumudzi palibe. Ndeti tafokotosera a World Vision kapena alangizi athu kudzana ndi WFP. Anaona ndi chinthu chabwino kuti atiyikire chinthu chimenechi solar dry kuti mavuto athu akangati achepe.
Through this asset, food is exposed to the sun and wind by placing it on the ground. The advantage of drying products directly open air is that almost no costs for fuel and appliances have to be spent by the farmer.
The whole purpose is to control the loss of crops after harvest. So we call it post-harvest management. Yeah. So in terms of the background, the organization through World Food Program provided cement, the community provided sand and bricks, and this structure now is for the community themselves. As you have seen, they come, dry their crops so that it is well managed.
As part of the activities to diversify incomes for smallholder farmers in rural communities, FFA Project has also been supporting poultry farming. Under Msolola Village Loans and Savings Group, these women have managed to raise 100 chickens for egg production. Before the project, their income mainly depended on millet, maize and sweet potatoes. Through training on the best poultry rearing practices and management skills supported by the project, group members are now able to manage a poultry agribusiness and generate complementary incomes.
Mapulani athu ngoti nkhukuzi zikakulakula tikagulitsa mazirawo, nkhuku zikakalamba ndalama yomweyo imene kugulitsa mazirayo titenge ndalamayo tikagule nkhuku zina tibwere nazo kuti tipitebe chitsogolo.
Chikwawa as a district continues to face an existential food security crisis in light of this climate emergency. Population is growing fast and agricultural production cannot keep up due to the fact that less arable land is irrigated, which means little insurance against erratic rains and climate shocks. To address these threats, World Vision, through Food for Assets Creation, embarked on a serious irrigation farming here at Lalanje Irrigation Scheme in the area of Traditional Authority Ngowe in the district. According to the chairperson of Lalanje Irrigation Scheme, this 5-hectare scheme, which has now been expanded to 8 hectares, has provided an alternative path to food security and economic empowerment.
Chifukwa cha ulimi umene tikugwisa ntchito wamulera nthaka komanso mukayang'ana mu skimu muno muli grisidia kubwezeretsa chonde zimene zindimene zikutipangisa kuti anthu ife tikamalima tikupeza phindu yochuluka komanso ndi madzi amene tapatsidwa ndi zonse zikhanga zikugwirana chikupanga chinthu chimodzi.
One of the development officers working with World Vision and Chikwawa, Venge Jere, says apart from communities engaging themselves in agriculture, there has been positive multiplier effects of Food for Assets Creation project, even to those who are not direct beneficiaries.
Climate change has affected this area through the coming in of unreliable rainfall and sometimes damage to fields. So having this scheme, it's helping the farmers to manage to grow crops even though when the rains are not that reliable. Hence, they are more food secure and resilient to other climate shocks.
Together with partners, World Vision through FFA Project has in John Village, under Traditional Authority Ngowe, worked with farmers to build their resilience to climate change to enable them get financial resources even if crops failed. One of the activities is promoting beekeeping. By asking farmers about different livelihoods that could work in their community, farmers identified beekeeping as one good way to diversify their economy. Under Teke Honey Club, these members are able to prepare the honey to sell to the local community and use the proceeds to buy food, clothing, and other household items for their families. The chairperson of the grouping says this is supplementing their income, as oftentimes their crops fail due to the unpredictable nature of rain, and that honey production, on the other hand, looks promising as an additional off-farm activity that is not heavily rain reliant. One development facilitator says field reports from Teke Honey Club indicate the rate of hive colonization was as high as 100% within a period of 3 to 4 weeks.
There is also a way where they want to do a construction in terms of an office for the beekeeping so that they can be managing the beehives. They're also doing some household constructions whereby other people are benefiting as well. And also through the VSLs, the groups, they also want to major into a greater impact. As such, they have advertised a package to Chipiku where they want to build like a tender so that in the course they can also be getting something from the products they are getting from the 48 beehives, which were distributed by World Vision through the help of USAID and WFP.
McAllen, FFA coordinator for World Vision in Chikwawa, observes that all interventions taking place in the district are aimed at achieving positive mindset change among members of communities.
In that same vein of the biblical empowered worldview, we make it a point that as much as we are doing these interventions with these communities, but we also instill in them some of the views that will take their lives to greater heights. Just looking at the irrigation scheme here, we have heard the farmers narrating by themselves what they are envisioning. And so what we are saying is if indeed they are part of the interventions that we are advocating, then it should be very easy. These people should be able to transform from point A to point B.
Food Assistance Manager for Food for Assets Creation in the World Vision, Andrew Chimera, discloses that at the heart of all the interventions is a child. He says its work with families, communities and local partners strives to improve the well-being of vulnerable children in the most important aspects of their lives.
As World Vision, we are a child-centered organization, and our main aim is to make sure that the life of the children is improved. Therefore, we are doing all these things for the future of the children. We know that as old people, as we go, what type of the world that are we going to leave to these children? So we need to leave a very good environment to these children so that they should be able to produce their own food in the future, so that life should not be as difficult as it is today.
World Vision efforts address basic needs, but also go beyond those to include the spiritual, psychological, and relational aspects of thriving in a vibrant and empowered community.